to unlock the phone, it takes you into like emergency mode, and then you press it, and then you have like the option to set like the medications you're taking, your weight, your height, your blood type, like your emergency contacts, which people can access without unlocking your phone.
Yeah, so here's another way, is like, sometimes you really want this information to be accessible to other people. Also, like, if your grandmother falls over and is unconscious, then you want the people in her nursing home to have certain information about her. If she has health problems, you want this information accessible to these people. So there's definitely a sense in which data merging is good. And another big one is, what school do we all currently stand in or sit in? John Jay?
Criminal justice.
There we go, College of Criminal Justice. That's another group who is using data merging. So you can now look at things and merge data from different places to find things out. So for instance, the book talks about some, or can you think of any, in ways in which data merging is being used by law enforcement in ways that it wasn't before?
Oh, law enforcement?
Yeah, law enforcement.
Oh, like USCIS are, like whenever you go for interview, they are using their social media.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's one, is anytime, so here's data merging for good and bad. The first thing any employer is ever going to do, if they are thinking, well, it's one of the last things in the process. After they've interviewed you, looked at your resume, done everything else, what are they doing? Checking your social media. They will always look at your social media now. So if you are wondering why you keep getting interviews and then not getting hired, try to purge your social media, because odds are there's a photo on there that they look at and go, I don't want to hire this person. Or, in another thing, very often, like, the police can use the same thing. If you keep posting statuses about your new automatic rifle, odds are the cops are going to be able to find out that you have an automatic rifle illegally. Or, if you keep posting things, and it's very often like things where you'll have somebody post a picture of themselves, and then you not realize that like in the background is just like a pile of cocaine. That's another way in which people get caught. It's just like posting things online. Or another one is child support payments. What is child support payments? What are they? I guess this is grammatical. Yeah, so imagine you have two parents. They have a child, but they are no longer together. And the child custody is had by one parent alone. So one parent is in charge of taking care of the child. What does the other parent legally have to do? Support by giving money each month. Now what determines how much money you have to give each month? How much you make. So very often people who were had to pay child support would lie and say they were making significantly less than they actually were, so they wouldn't have to pay as much child support. How come this is now much harder than it used to be? Who now talks to each other and can talk to and exchange information very quickly? Well, on the one hand, you have the child support office, and who can they contact very quickly now? Who knows exactly what your income is? The IRS. The IRS and child support can now talk to each other instantly, and so if you say, I make $30,000 a year, when you're really making $70,000 a year, they know you're making $70,000 a year.
Which is also why a lot of people, if their employer can pay them cash, then they opt for that.
Yeah, and this is why one of the major reasons why cash is still somewhat valuable is that it is a one form of currency, well, along with Bitcoin, depending on how good you are at it, et cetera, that there is no paper trail. So if you pay someone in cash, unless visibly someone was taking a picture of you exchanging the cash, there's no evidence that you did it and that you'd have to pay taxes on it. Or, in this case, if you say you make $30,000 but you're paid in direct deposit, they know. If you say you're making $30,000 and you're paid in cash, then if you're making $100,000, nobody really knows. Unless you're living an extravagant lifestyle in which like it's very clear that you're making more than that. Like if you tell the IRS, I'm making $30,000 a year, but you drive a Ferrari, like they know you're not making $30,000 a year. But, and these are the sorts of ways in which also that's a good way of getting caught by the IRS, is if you post things like, check out my new ride, and it's you who claims to the IRS you make $30,000 a year, but really you make, you know, $2 million and now have a Ferrari, like they can figure that out pretty easily. And that's just classic data merging. And this is the sort of way that's, you know, we like some types of data merging. Like, it makes me happy that children's parents are having to pay child support. Like if you are a child whose dad has been neglecting you and not paying for your well-being and you're suffering for it, you should have your parent pay for you. And this is a good way. But on the other side, the fact is, Amazon can theoretically sell my insurance company that I buy climbing shoes. And I'm not sure I like that idea as much. So does everyone understand how this is just, like this sort of thing has happened forever. Like data merging is not new. The difference is the size and the speed and the ease of transfer. If I mean, as simple as criminal records now, what was in the old times, what was the easiest way to not get arrested? Not get caught. And what if the cops were chasing after you? What was the quickest way to not get caught? Run, and run where specifically? Like imagine you are getting chased by the cops, and it's the year 1910, and you're currently in John Jay. Where do you go?
To a crowded place.
To Central Park.
Central Park, and then once you're out of Central Park, where do you go?
Anywhere.
Anywhere specifically? Where? I'll give you a clue.
Home? No, not
Underground?
Oh, river.
Where? What do you don't go and hide in the river. You can't breathe the river.
Oh,
No.
dogs can't track you?
Upstairs.
What?
In the-
Specifically where? I'll give you a clue.
Oh my gosh.
This is
A nose.
that's a nose, yeah. And
That's a no.
Oh, okay, so dogs can't track you.
bad. Where's somewhere that it smells bad?
Sewer.
Nope, not specifically. Well, yes, but also an entire place.
The-
There we go. You go to New Jersey. You go to
Oh
New
my
Jersey.
goodness.
Because if you go to New Jersey, now you are out of the state jurisdiction and the warrant no longer applies. And not only that, their records don't have the records. And yes, that was entirely a joke to make fun of New Jersey. I'm sorry. I knew it. Okay, so yeah, so New Jersey, and why? Because back in the day, when all criminal records were paper, New Jersey didn't have easy access to the New York records. So therefore, if you get arrested in New York, say you get a speeding ticket in New Jersey, they're not necessarily going to know that you're wanted for murder in New York. Now that information is exchanged instantly. Not only that, you might, if you go to France and you get a speeding ticket, now France will know that you're wanted for murder. And just about anywhere you go in the world, they can know, and that's all data merging. And the difference is just how quickly and how much information can get passed. So it's the same idea, just on a totally different scale. And what we're going to talk about at the start of next class is just a totally new process, which is somewhere in between data merging and it's kind of like it, but it's also something which is totally different than anything human beings have ever been able to do before, because the computer is able to do things that the human mind cannot. So next class, we're going to spend the first half the class talking about data mining, which is a way of gathering information about people that they and nobody else before the computer got them even knew was something to be gathered. All right, I will see everyone next week.
Professor Neely.
Give me one sec.
One of them did